Let's see, I got it. Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Public Works Committee meeting, Tuesday, February 28th, 2023 at 2:30 p.m. We are all doing Zoom by remote here. Today we have 4 items on our agenda, and first 3 are, believe it or not, the mayor's going to be up front and personal here today. First on our list on our agenda is appointments for the RVTA board. Marshall D. Welsh. Mayor, you are up.
All right, thank you, Chairwoman Katz. Appreciate it. Members of the Public Works Committee. Yes, what you have before you today is an appointment to the RVTA River Valley Transit Authority Board. Marshall Welch, who is here with us, and I'm thrilled that he has agreed to serve in this capacity and join the RVTA board. I won't run through his extensive list of his resume, but suffice to say he has done a long list of professional accomplishments that I think will serve us well, the city well, RVTA well on the board. Again, look forward. I think he's going to obviously be an asset to that board. I should thank Tricia Marty. She served for the past year in that role and has moved on now. But we appreciate her service and very much look forward to Marshall filling in and doing what undoubtedly will be a phenomenal job. So Marshall's here, and I'll turn it back over to Public Works for questions of him.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Randy, any questions?
I don't have any questions. I know you're well qualified, and just want to express my gratitude as well for stepping up to fulfill what's a very important position, since the authority's not even a year old yet. So it's still in its formative stages. There's still a learning curve there, I think, for everybody in that respect. And it's good to have qualified people like yourself. It's an assurance for all of us that everything's going to run well and stay that way. So thank you.
Sure. No, I'm really looking forward to it. And so I appreciate the opportunity. I've enjoyed other work I've done in the community with FCFP and the other things I have listed. And so I look forward to engaging here as well.
Vince, any questions?
I guess the only question that comes to my mind is, how do you find the time? I know, Marshall, you definitely are a man that's involved in an awful lot in the community. You're involved in a lot of things. So, to express and kind of replicate and go off of what Mr. Allison had said is, I'm very glad and happy that we saw your name come up here as somebody that's has interest in serving on the RVTA board. Like Randy said, it is a year old, and you are certainly more than qualified. So knowing that we're going to have more people like you and yourself assisting in all of this, it makes it all the easier for me to feel good about this and about the future of that authority. So thank you again for serving.
Sure.
For me, I'd like to say thank you also to get anybody qualified for any of our committees. We appreciate it tremendously. This is a brand new committee. They've been in existence less than a year. So I think there are some people probably still feeling their way through things. And as you well know, you're on so many board of directors, the learning curve at times can be really challenging. And transportation has a lot of strings attached to a lot of different areas. So there is going to be study and research, and I know you're probably used to that anyhow. But we want to thank you tremendously for stepping up to this. We appreciate it. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
If there's no other questions, we want to thank you very much. Janice, he doesn't have to show up on Thursday, does he?
No, but he should call me and schedule a time after Thursday to get sworn in.
So
Okay.
you were a little light there, or low, Janice. Marshall, what Janice Frank said, you just reach out to her, the city clerk, after Thursday night, schedule a time with her to be officially sworn in and sign the book on the
Okay,
authority.
great. And Janice, if you don't mind, you've got my email. If you wouldn't mind maybe reaching out to me when it's time, we'll get everything scheduled and check the boxes that we need to check.
Sure, I'd be happy to.
All right, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Marshall.
Okay, so
Before
Whoop, go
you,
ahead.
you can leave if you would like. You're more
Okay.
than welcome to stay if you
no,
want. but you can
I'll
leave
stick.
if you
I'll
want.
stick around.
Okay. Don't want to twist the arm. Before we do go any further, I forgot to have a roll call here for the books. Present today is Councilman Vincent Pelizzi, Councilman Randy Allison, myself, Bonnie Katz, Scott Livermore from Streets and Parks. We had Marshall Welsh, who is now stepping up to be on RVTA. We have our esteemed mayor. We have Chris Black IT and Janice Frank from our city clerk. Next item on the agenda is, I lost my agenda.
It's the
Oh, here it is.
resolution.
I see it. Okay. Next thing is the resolution authorizing the execution of Elm Park lease agreement.
Yes, what you have before you is resolution authorizing the execution of the Elm Park lease agreement. And this came up, unfortunately, the current folks who are running it ran into some health problems, reached out to me, submitted a letter, which I believe I sent out to council earlier today, and asked that it get transferred over to some folks who have been working with them over the last several years. So they're very familiar with Elm Park. They're very familiar with the upgrades that have been made and activities that have taken place there. Obviously, primarily softball, but we've had some other community events in the park as well. And so that's why it's coming back before you as just essentially an updated lease agreement with the new folks that would like to continue on where Mr. Tedesco, Mr. Noviello are leaving off. They've done a tremendous job over the last few years with Elm Park, making upgrades and hosting events. And so I want to thank them again for what they've done. And I look forward to the new folks, continuing that on. Scott is here as well because he's very familiar. His daughter plays softball and he works closely with Elm Park and with the new folks too. They'll be here Thursday night, but they were unable due to work to make it today here at 2:30. But we can answer any questions. It's the standard lease. Austin White reviewed it, and I think it's an annual renewal, just similar to all the other leases that we do. I'll turn it back over to you, Ms. Katz.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Randy, any questions?
Yeah, Mayor, is this essentially the same as the former lease? Excuse me.
Yeah, it is. It's exactly the same. We didn't change. I think the only change that we made that was not in the original one, it's a very minor one. It's just an out clause that either party could terminate the lease agreement for any reason, given, I believe it's 30 days notice. Other than that, it stayed completely the same. Austin looked it over. That was the only very minor change that we made.
Okay, I assumed that and it looked like that, but it's still the $1 rent, and so it's a good lease, but it also serves a great need, and they've really done a good job there. And
It'll still be open to the high schools. Sorry, Randy, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, that's fine. Yep.
I was going to say it's still going to be open to the high schools and the colleges and the tournaments, just like it was in the past. Nothing changed on that front. So yeah, exactly the same.
Okay, great. That's all I have, Bonnie.
Okay, Vince? No questions? I see you.
No,
shaking
there we go. No,
Okay.
I have no questions. I appreciate Randy asking that he answered. He had my question answered for me. So thank you.
Mayor, there was a couple of things that I just wanted to touch base with. Reading the contract over again, will any kind of signage that is put up come to council or you to approve?
It would have to go to Gary Nar, I believe. It would start with him for zoning. So if they want to switch the sign or anything like that, yeah, it'd have to go to Gary Nar. And then from there, probably depending on what it is, it would have to come to council for approval. But it would start with Gary, and then Gary would handle it from there. And then
Okay.
ultimately, city council, if it's a signage that would need council approval, yes, it would come to you all.
Because that was a problem, as we all know from years ago. The other thing I wanted to question, the Elm Park has not been changed legally, the name. It hasn't come to us, but they're calling it Father Mano Park. Are they still doing that? Is that sign
no.
still up?
I don't know about that. That I'm not, Scott, do you know? I don't know.
There's a sign out front, I think, and sponsored with his name on it, but it's on the sign. But I don't know.
It's Elm Park, yes. And that sign will probably come down now. I wasn't aware of Father Mano Park, to be honest with you. But no, it's still Elm Park legally. We didn't change anything.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that. Another thing in the lease, which I find kind of funny, the utilities, there are no telephones up there, right? Scott, are there any telephones up there?
No.
Okay, that was in the lease, that we won't be responsible for that. And the other thing, I don't ever remember getting a financial report to us from them. Has that been in the past?
I'm not sure. I think we did it maybe one year, and then like I said, he ran into some health issues, unfortunately. But the new group, we can get the financial reports to you each year, quarterly or whatever.
Well, I wasn't concerned with that because they do such a fantastic job of taking care of that field. It saves the city time, energy, and money all the way around. And how they maintain this is with the signage that they put around. That's how they pay for some of the things. I just, I never saw, or I can't remember all the years I've been on council that there was a financial report. I really can't. Randy, do you?
I think in the beginning, but after that, no, I don't.
Okay. Do you think is it something that should be done and pursued every year?
I think, yeah, I think we should get an annual report. Absolutely. Not
Yeah,
that
that's not hard.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
our doing our due diligence. That's all.
And jump
Yep.
on that when they're speaking with Scott and Jess, that has been part of the discussion of monthly reports or quarterly reports that they're going to have, once they get all the banking and everything switched over, that we'll have access to every report that they have.
I know this is all volunteers that do this, and you hate to make their job more complicated when they're volunteering so much of their time. I just want to make sure that they're financially stable and that we're not, blindsided, and they might need something financially for the field. That's the only reason I'm asking this.
No,
Well, as with
I mean, this has
any,
been an incredible group all these years, and we all know
Oh.
that.
mhm. In this day and age, though, I think you don't have to be suspicious, but you have to be thorough, and that they have in place internal controls that are able to make everything transparent. Because we've all seen reports of what look like great organizations and money ended up walking away somewhere. So it just
Well
it
put,
makes
Randy.
pardon me.
Well put.
Mhm.
Yep, so we'll make sure those will get you regular reports. That's no problem at all.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda is resolution authorizing the execution of Bowman Field usage requirements.
Good afternoon, once again. This one is essentially a formality. This was MLB approved. As we all know, like Cumming College has a baseball team this year. Payne College has had one. Initially, they were scheduled to use the fields that the chamber is working on. As we all know, obviously, clearly that project is not completed, and so they needed a home this year to play their games. We reached out to MLB, and they graciously granted Payne College and Lycoming College's schedule, and so that's what this is. MLB put. I won't say additional, but they just had some requirements that Penn College was already used to, like Cumming College wasn't. And so we added all those in. It's mostly around tarp requirements when you have to tarp the field and or take the tarp off of the field. And so both Penn College and Cumming College are able to handle those requirements that MLB requested or required. And met with MLB, we've met with Lycoming College and Payne College, as well as the crosscutters. Everyone's on the same page. So this resolution grants Payne College and Lycoming College baseball teams the availability or the ability to use Bowman Field this season.
Randy, any questions?
Not particularly on those two, no. Since it's been spelled out and they're aware of the other contract, if somebody wants to use it, has a lot of detail in it though, but that's a separate subject.
Yeah, that will be coming in a few weeks.
Yeah. There's a lot of detail in there about what you can or can't do.
Right.
Rightfully so.
Right.
Yeah.
So I
The
do
mayor
have-
and I had a discussion on this, and we really wanted it to go in front of the Bowen Field Commission so they could at least have some input. And this, as the mayor said, this is going to come back to us in 2 weeks
Sure.
for that.
Yep. But I do have to say MLB was, they were very easy to work with, and they granted it right away. So I have to give, we have to give MLB a shout out on that.
Gave us a wonderful field.
I have a
Vince.
quick question, if I may.
Yes. Yes, Vince.
Mayor, did we, and this is going to sound like a stupid question, did we make sure that Penn College and Lycoming College don't have any conflicting schedules? I mean, unless, of course, they're playing each other that day, but it'd be awfully funny if we had 4 teams all showing up at the same time to play.
Yes, as you can imagine, MLB, the crosscutters and everyone thoroughly examined the field usage requests. And so we went over, I personally did not, but MLB and others went over those requests with a fine tooth comb. And so
Okay.
there are no conflicts. They had to look at practice schedules as well. And so they made sure practice and game day schedules, there were no conflicts, and Payne College and Lycoming College.
Okay.
Oh, good to go. That's a good question, though. But yes, we did.
Well, I mean, it's one of those questions that you would think somebody would ask, but it's so simple that it could be overlooked. And
Right.
I know when we think about it, we all laugh. I mean, I'm looking at Scott right now and he's about to burst, right? So, but no, I do appreciate it.
Yep. Yep. No, it was, like I said, Cam and Murray at MLB, the head to ground folks there, and it's been really easy to work with them. And their main concern was obviously the maintenance of the field with an additional, I think it's around 30 games, right, Scott? Something like that. So that's a significant amount. And MLB, we all know how particular they are with the field. So they just wanted to make sure that Penn College and Lycoming College had the capacity to handle those field requirements, which they do. So, but no, that's a good question, Vince, and we're all squared away there.
Thanks. Bonnie,
It's
I
one
have
of
no
them.
more questions.
It's one of the hardest things when you sit down with the commission to get the scheduling of everybody that does want to use the field. I mean, it's a spreadsheet. That's all there is to it. And that there's no conflicts. Scott, you know this as well as I do. And it's sometimes there are battles over who's doing what to whom. The only other question I have is it's now with 30 games, these colleges are going to have an input of the total cost of it is $38,364. From what I understand, they will each be paying $6,682 for the season then, right?
Well, yes, and then they'll have of course, the Bowman Field rental, but
Right, right.
that's the additional amount on top. That's for the what the MLB, the groundskeepers are requiring for their additional time. So they split that. We did talk to both Penn College, like Cumming College, they reviewed all the documents. They're aware and they're comfortable with it.
Let me ask you this. We do have the high school, and I think they're the only other ones. Are they required to pay into this
It
also?
would. We've had no additional high school requests on other than the ones that MLB already permits within the number of games that they permit. And so, but if they were to go above and beyond that, which again, we haven't had any from high schools, they would have to pay the additional amount too, and they would have to meet the TARP requirements. And most likely, majority of the high schools, probably all of the high schools, would not have the capacity to handle those TARP requirements. If it's getting ready to rain or it just stopped raining, colleges are a little different, clearly, because they have students and staff around all the time. High schools, it's not like you're going to take the baseball team out of the middle of class at 1:30 in the afternoon and go tarp the field. So it's highly unlikely that any of the high schools will request additional games in this format in the way that like Cumming and Penn College have. So it's not, so it would be available, but not likely they would be able to meet the additional requirements.
Okay, because the TARP requires, from what I'm reading in this, 15 people in
Right.
order to put the TARP on and take it off. And like you said, the scheduling, if they call for rain, somebody's got to get there immediately, all 15 of those people. So
Right.
it would be difficult for the school system.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions? If not, Mayor, we'll see you on Thursday.
Sounds
Okay.
good. Thank you.
Fantastic. Last item on the agenda is any related items. Does anybody have anything to bring to the table?
No,
If not, I'm going to call for an adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
All those in favor? Aye.
aye.
Thank you all very much, and we will see you on Thursday.
Okay,
Thank you.
take care,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thanks, everybody.